Hi Cancer, welcome to your April 2020 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. You can see my sage just going at it. And so let's see what cards. This one. Aha. This is a time of year when the sun is in Aries. I'm going to pick an additional card here. Okay. Where the sun is in Aries, and that's your 10th house of career. Excuse me. So this may be a time of the year where you find that your career is more, you're more involved in your career or ambitious, or this is the time of the year when you tend to have the most success. Who knows? I mean, just something to think about. The heart of the matter is the High Priestess, which is a card of maybe knowing that something is going on and you can't quite put your finger on it, that there's still more to be learned. Excuse me, I just woke up and I had a Mineola. I don't know if those are, if that's a combination of orange and tangerine, but I love those things. They're so juicy. And, you know, I did it specifically to cut down on mucus and things like that. And still having to, because I'm starting to talk the first thing in the morning. So anyway, yeah, so the High Priestess, there might be something going on. So if it's in the workplace, there is some kind of intrigue, or you just feel like maybe people are acting differently around you. To me too, though, it's not necessarily something negative. It can be something positive where you are becoming much more interested in spiritual matters. And definitely when the North Node goes into Gemini, which is happening in May, that will be your 12th house. Right now it's in your sign as I record this, and it will go into your 12th house, and you may find that things appear in your life that have this hint of like, hey, you need to go down this path. In the past position, we have the King of Pentacles. So if this is a facet of you, this could be like, what do they call it? A captain of commerce, or whatever that term is, of being really like into the material, but not, it's not like crass materialism. It could simply be that you explored that area to the hilt, and now you're looking for something else. It's like, it's not saying, well, this is inferior to this. It's like saying, okay, I did this, and now I'm going to do this. This could be somebody that you're dealing with, and that is what is creating this situation with the High Priestess of thinking, yeah, there's definitely something behind the scenes. So this could be the boss, the head boss, the owner, business owner, and things like that. And this is like a financial situation. So they're looking at it as whatever it is that's going on. If you went to this person and asked for a raise, for instance, and they said, no, we're freezing wages, but you think that other people are still advancing materially, you just have that feeling, or somebody told you that they were, then you might be a little bit not willing to accept the official story of what's going on. The higher message is the Ace of Wands, which can be about, to me, this is a card of autonomy. So this would be doing your own thing. You're a cardinal sign. You certainly could start your own business if you're dissatisfied with the treatment you're receiving. But it's also, to me, a card, it reminds me of the spring. If you're in the northern hemisphere, this reminds me of Aries. It might be associated with Aries, actually. But this idea of maybe I said this idea of maybe an idea that can light your fire, can be, some kind of creative thought that you can turn into this moneymaker even. And this is in the spiritual position. So this is having an effect on you that is transcending just whatever is going on. And what I mean by that is sometimes it can be that maybe the universe is nudging you in a different direction through these limitations in the material world for you to be like understanding those limitations and turning your attention elsewhere. And sometimes we become stubborn, and especially if we are used to something and we don't want to go in a different direction because we don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, how can I turn in a different direction when I have no guarantees that it's going to work, that I'm going to like it, and whatnot. Well, the Ace of Wands is really about feeling free, but you're also feeling joyful, which means that you're following your bliss, you're following your passion in life. And it's almost like saying, if you follow your passion in life, you'll never be led astray. But it's about initiation. Taking, the initiative, doing this on your own. What crosses you is represented by the Five of Wands. But you know something? I'm not thinking in terms of your current workplace or anything like that. What I'm thinking of is a belief that life is supposed to be a struggle, that life is supposed to be full of conflict. If you have that belief within yourself, and sometimes when I am communicating online with people, I notice that some of those beliefs that they have, especially as it relates to work, are very deeply ingrained, and they push away things that are much more emphasizing autonomy and that sense of freedom, that sense of doing something yourself. And I think it's because it's so it seems like it's wrong even that you're supposed to, when you go to work, it's supposed to be something that is distasteful, that you don't necessarily like, that you're counting the hours until you can go home. And excuse me, it probably has some roots in puritanical conditioning, that this idea that we're, to reject pleasure, to reject anything that's positive. So we need to question those things all the time. Anything that comes up like that, because here you have these cards with wands, which is fire energy. And fire is also about the inner child, or the child within us that, you could say sometimes leaves when we get to be a certain age. Maybe it's adolescence, maybe it's adulthood, where we're not allowed to be spontaneous or playful, or actually we don't allow ourselves to be. And people who do those things, or who embody those things, are seen as irresponsible, immature. And sometimes people think that they have to walk around with this grim expression on their face because they're an adult. And that's how people adult, is by, walking around like they're unhappy, really. And if you're happy, or if you just like are always, kind of enthusiastic about life, you must be an idiot. You must you must be too stupid to know how bad everything is, and that's of course not true. That was from. Now I realize I got that from All in the Family. But anyway, it's really like, I think that this is a great time to explore these issues, because I love, when I look at that Ace of Wands, I love what that represents. We just celebrated the spring equinox, or I guess if you live down under, the autumn equinox. But just looking at it from the standpoint of the spring with the Ace of Wands, those leaves sprouting, and looking outside and seeing, in spite of all of the things that we're dealing with that are so crazy, seeing that the robins are still, getting their worms, and that the perennials are still budding, or sprouting, whatever. Can you tell I'm not much of a gardener? I don't know the difference between these things. So life goes on, and there's continuity in life, and there's abundance around us. And speaking of abundance, we have the Four of Pentacles, and this is a card of sound money management. The person's holding on to their money. Sometimes it can be someone who is overly concerned about keeping their money, maybe kind of a little bit greedy, or I don't think that Cancer is a greedy sign. I think Cancer is more like holding on to money because they're like afraid of not having it. So saving it, being prudent with it, but also this is a card of financial security as well. And so whatever it is, maybe you're already in the process of starting a business, or you're starting to suspect something in the workplace. Know that you are supported by the universe. And so that's why I picked an additional card, because this one, as the outcome card, is a card about looking at self-limiting beliefs that keep you stuck, trapped. Because this person is only trapped by their own thoughts. It's not real what they're experiencing. It's what they're telling themselves. Again, that conditioning. And so I picked a clarification card, and I got a card about clarifying your vision, the Ace of Swords. So it's cutting through the illusion. See, the clouds represent the illusion, and being able to, go in a new direction based on knowing what is what. Knowing what the truth is. Again, I started this reading. The first card I picked was the High Priestess, maybe not being sure of what's going on. And then the last card I picked was a card of mental clarity. And seeing the truth. This doesn't mean that necessarily that anything is revealed from another source. Maybe you decide, I don't need anyone to tell me anything. I already know that something isn't right, and I'm going to make changes that I need to make. Or simply that I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, at least temporarily. I can take it. Maybe I don't have my answers, but I know I have a vision for my life, and I'm going to be starting my own business. I'm going to do that on the side, and I'm just going to keep connecting to my higher self and being guided by that instead of allowing these thoughts to keep me trapped and thinking, thinking that I have these limitations that I really don't have. Okay. Here's, every time I get interrupted by the train, I'm glad that there still is production going on and that there are goods that are traveling the country. This country being the USA, and that people are buying those goods and that we're keeping everything going. So in any case, I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. I do a lot of astrology. The tarot I do because it is a popular medium, and it really can give some of the same ideas to work with. It's really about empowering people to think more intentionally about life, and that meaning that you have more power than you know. Okay, take care. Bye.